Today I want to talk, well, first of all, I want to ask you a question. Did you ever know that dog spelt backwards is God? Welcome back to One's journey of unwinding the mind and, of course, your daily microdose. Now, tune in to the latest episode of One's journey. Dog is God spelt backwards. I did not realize that, but that statement that a friend shared with me prompted a whole rabbit hole that I'm going to share with you today that Patrick and I went down on a walk, and I have had many conversations with others. So today I want to have a conversation with you about it and hear your thoughts. So, a dog. If you live in America, I don't know what the percent is. I would have to look it up, but I'm sure more than 50% of households have dogs. Dogs are a huge thing, especially here where I live in Florida, near St. Petersburg. Everybody has a dog. They bring it everywhere they go. They're so cute. They dress them up. They cuddle them. They love them. And there's been a huge movement as well in the millennium generation and future generations to come of having dog children instead of having children or waiting till later in life, mid-30s, late 30s, to have physical human children, but for the years prior to have these dog children that they dote over, they treat like it. Do they have doggy daycare for them? I mean, literally, a dog is another family member. If you've ever had a dog, when you lose your dog, it's heartbreaking. It is literally like you've lost a member of the family, unless you lived on a farm. I did have many farm friends that having dogs who lived on the farm, it was just when a dog would pass, it was, okay, let's get a new one. But I'm talking about when the dog is really a part of the family. Okay, let's go back to dog is God spelt backwards. God's love for us is unconditional love, truly unconditional. I know there is my belief. There is some sharings of God is unconditionally loves you, but there's a whole shit ton of conditions that if you do those in the illusion, then you're not worthy of God's love. I don't believe that. I believe God is fully unconditional, loves you no matter what, and that you cannot sin. The problem is, we believe that we separated from that love of God, which we did not. So while we're in this illusion, we're constantly seeking that love. And the problem is you can never find that unconditional love within the items of the illusion. It is the oneness. It is the awareness of us all as one with God. So what do? We constantly create or seek or try to create in our mind these relationships that could possibly meet that need for us. That's why we get into intimate relationships. It's trying to fulfill the love of God that we are missing. Any sort of relationship, an addiction, it is constantly we are seeking the love of God. A dog, though, when I think of unconditional love, I think of it just no matter what you do, no matter what you say, it's just always there. It will always love you. It will never defy you, none of that. And that is, to me, in my mind, the representation of a dog. Yes, there are some dogs that do attack or bite, and a lot of times they don't their owners, though. They do it out of protection of their owners because they love their owners so very much. So a dog, we tend to seek out companionship when we are lacking that companionship within ourselves, when we are not providing it to ourselves. And what better than a dog? We saw this in COVID. The amount of dogs that were adopted and purchased during the COVID pandemic is out of this world. And as soon as people went back to work, these shelters were overflowing with these dogs that people got because they needed companionship when they were home. They wanted it so bad because they didn't have the ability to distract anymore. That was one of the biggest things COVID did, was showed people how much they were distracting themselves, which did one of two things. It either woke them up and put them on the journey of healing, or it did the opposite and caused them some even heavier addictions to things that now they hide because they were able to hide them at home so often. And a dog was a huge filler of that void. And what better way than a dog? Because a dog is one of the most beautiful representations of unconditional love. You can forget to feed it. You can forget to let it out to go to the bathroom, and it will always be there loving you, expecting you to bring it food and give it love back, because it's just this and it doesn't talk back. That's another beautiful thing with a dog. It does not talk back. But as everything else that can kind of represent the unconditional love of God, it will never fully fill it. And so what the ego does is a dog doesn't live nearly as long as we are alive, my friend. A dog's life is so much shorter, and what better way to remind you that you're going to die than to have your companion that you use to fulfill the love of God die even earlier, and be that reminder of like, yep, death's going to happen. Death is coming. And that's what a dog does. Am I saying that every time someone gets a dog, it's bad? Am I saying it's bad to have a dog? No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm here to just shine some light on an interesting conversation Patrick and I had, and I've had with some other friends, about what are we really using a dog for, especially in America? Because I find it also interesting that the majority of the rest of the world doesn't have dogs as companions. They also their healing journey looks a lot different than it does in the US. We're definitely different, and there's another rabbit hole I want to talk about in regards to consumerism, specifically, especially in America, but that'll be on a different video. So this is an opportunity for us to just really look at, have we created what we are trying to fulfill, that void of what we believe is gone, of that unconditional love from God, with a dog? Did we create a dog for that? Remember, the mind creates everything. So when you think of a dog and having a dog, or even, any pet, we can put other pets in. I just find it fascinating that dog spelt backwards is God, or God spelt backwards is dog, whichever you prefer. And the correlation to the representation that a dog presents in your life, and how similar it is to that of the unconditional love of God, and the companionship and the trust and the loyalty. And knowing when you're sad and being there and never giving up on you. I mean, I've heard of stories of dogs that got lost and were hundreds of miles away, like on family vacation, and found their way home hundreds of miles back to their family. That's how much they loved their family. And what better way to feel that love, to have a love like that from something outside of yourself, because that's what you're seeking. Because you forget it's within. So within the illusion, we're constantly trying to seek that love outside of ourselves. And I would say dogs are one of the most, ranks really high up there with what we use. It was an interesting conversation today. Again, no offense to dog owners. I love dogs, grew up with dogs. I would love to have a dog right now if we weren't going to be sailing. But it's just some food for thought, again, of how we manipulate this illusion and how we place false conditions on things that can never provide it. The dog can never fully fulfill the unconditional love from God that you are seeking in it. So hop on share below. What are your thoughts about this? Are you like, Ashley, you're completely crazy? Or are you like, oh, wow, I never thought of that. That is pretty interesting. And make sure to let us know any videos you would like covered here on the YouTube channel and the Patreon. And as always, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications. And I am so grateful for you. Remember, you are worth it. Much love. Bye-bye.